Hey everyone, Pugs here with two new reviews for y'all. Today I'm covering Pineapple Invasion and Salsa Imbecilicus. Well, I'm going to be struggling with one of those titles throughout this review, and it's not Pineapple Invasion. What's neat about both of these episodes, in my opinion, is that they both take common plots and play around with them a lot. Or really, they both take plankton plots and play around with them, having them take place in locations outside of the Krusty Krab, and they have different characters involved in different ways too. I think that's pretty cool. And I didn't realize until like just now that both of these were Plankton Plot episodes either. It goes to show how much I remember, huh? Anyways, as always, I want to take the time to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who's deigned to sit down and watch this video today. I appreciate you all. And now let's just get right into it. See, now this is exactly what I'm talking about. We're finally back with another Gary-focused episode, which is great to see, but even better, I think that Pineapple Invasion is that kind of Gary-focused episode that has been most elusive. It's a Gary-focused episode that doesn't disappoint me. I know, I'm surprised too. But hey, I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth, and this episode's basic premise is Gary versus Plankton. I love that. It's basically the end of Shellback Shenanigans, except for an entire episode. There's no downsides. Pineapple Invasion begins with chaos, and I love it. After a nice reference to SpongeBob's catchphrase, we watch Plankton initiate his newest scheme, using a skunk to clear out the Krusty Krab so he can steal the formula. Well, I gotta say, he's certainly using gas a lot more effectively than when he tried using it in Goo Goo Gas. I love Mr. Krabs using SpongeBob's arm as a nose to go back into the Krusty Krab, that's hilarious. And seeing Plankton be foiled yet again is always fun. There's also just lots of great dialogue choices here, I don't know how else to describe it. And of course, Mr. Krabs would have a safe inside of his safe. I'm surprised we haven't seen this sooner. At least, I don't think we have. Maybe it's happened before and I just don't remember. But anyway, because Plankton got so close to the formula, he had 3 more safes to go before he got it, Mr. Krabs tasks SpongeBob with taking the formula with him and keeping it safe while Mr. Krabs comes up with a better security system. Why he thinks this is a good idea, I have no clue, but hey, it worked out for him at least. And it worked out for me too, because this is why Gary gets to be such a big part of the episode. But before I get to that, let me just say I loved this moment with Mr. Krabs roasting Plankton with these very, academic words. This is exactly why that one study said that this show has a lot of vocabulary words compared to other children's media. So, SpongeBob takes the formula home, which Plankton overhears the plan for, and the next morning SpongeBob entrusts Gary with the formula while he goes to work. This is when things start going my way, because everything from this point on is hilarious. Gary proves to be excellent security all on his own, because he thoroughly and entirely stops Plankton from stealing the formula by being onto Plankton's bullshit. Like, Gary's complete lack of tolerance for Plankton's bullshit is hilarious, plain and simple. I also think it's fun to see what Gary gets up to when SpongeBob's not home. Seems like he likes reading the newspaper, which is consistent with the joke with him reading it in Rockabye Bivalve. Gary continually foiling Plankton's plans is just too funny. Like, I could really sit here and recount each instance, but instead I'll just say a couple. Like, the entire gimmick with the Sweetie Patrol cookies was great. And also, Mr. Lawrence is a gift, like seriously. This is really some of the best Gary stuff that I've seen in quite a while. And that's saying something, considering he's been pretty great for most of the season outside of Gary's new toy, though the problems with that episode didn't really stem from Gary per se. Gary freaking MacGyvering a trap for Plankton shows that this little snail is a genius. Y'all see why Gary is my brand now, right? And then when Plankton tries to fight Gary, Gary rocks his whole shit. I love it. The ending of Pineapple Invasion is excellent as well, as we get all sorts of fun visuals as Plankton traverses the inside of Gary's shell. And then I love how SpongeBob comes in and reveals that the formula was in the most obvious location all along, a location we conspicuously didn't see at all until this very moment. And then of course we go full circle with the beginning of this episode as Plankton hallucinates because of the fumes in Gary's shell, fumes he couldn't smell because he didn't have a nose. Oh, and of course we have a gorgeous background to close us out. Love it. I really, really liked Pineapple Invasion. I mean, being a Gary episode already gave this episode lots of points, but then it was just really great on its own. It's a simple episode with lots and lots of gags, and for the most part, those gags work perfectly. Just excellent execution, not much else for me to say, And so this episode is going to be put in my amazing tier, where it comes in with a score of 9.4 out of 10. Holy fucking shit, I hate this title. Well, okay, hate is a strong word, but I mean, come on, what the fuck even is Imbecilicus, man? It's hard to say, and it's hard to spell, which is very annoying for both recording this video and writing the script to it. So I'm tempted to just give this episode minus like 10 points just for this title alone. But I'll be nice. Although, this episode doesn't really have the greatest reputation either, so it's possible that looking past the lackluster title is the nicest thing I'll be doing for this episode today. Let's find out. Just like last episode, funnily enough, Salsa Imbecilicus opens with Plankton trying to steal the secret formula. Or, I suppose in this case, we're actually seeing the direct aftermath of such an attempt, as the first thing we see in this episode is Mr. Krabs kicking Plankton out of the Krusty Krab. This sends Plankton careening straight into Sandy's boot, which excites me for a second because, hey, I could always do some more Sandy and Plankton interactions. Perfect chemistry was great, and I want more. But that's not really what I get here. Like, yeah, they speak here at least, but Plankton could have crashed into anyone here and nothing would have changed. Of course, I'm still glad that it was Sandy because, as I frequently say, she is criminally underutilized. But anyway, Sandy makes an offhanded comment that Mr. Krabs would have to be as dumb as Patrick to give up the secret formula, which then gives Plankton the idea to make Mr. Krabs just that by using Patrick's DNA. Oh boy. I can't say I really loved the plot to this episode. There's a couple of reasons for that. For one, I don't really care about Patrick's ineptitude being made into a plot device of this caliber, as in being given to anyone that isn't Patrick. And then two, it's just like, as I've gotten older, the more ridiculing someone for what we consider diminished mental capacities doesn't sit right with me, and that's like the entire basis of this plot since it's focusing on this particular trait of Patrick's. I just don't like it. Moving on, Plankton trying to get Patrick's DNA is decently entertaining. It also includes that one pretty famous joke of Plankton and the tongue. I was debating on whether I wanted to say this, but I feel like it would be a betrayal of my channel if I didn't. So let me slap the soapbox sticker on here and tell y'all if you don't want this joke ruined for you, you should skip. But like, is it just me? Or is the basis of this joke and one similar to it, like the one from Goodbye Krabby Patty that implied that Squidward got drilled in the ass, sexual assault? Like, obviously the intent here is not sexual. But the assault to that specific area of the body would be called sexual assault, especially in this case where it's literally the tongue licking Plankton in the ass. I don't know, ever since I had that realization about a different joke in a different show, I can't stop seeing it, and I think all jokes like this have been ruined for me now, because why is it actually so prevalent to see this sort of bodily violation played for laughs? I mean, I know why, but it's still rather disheartening. And nothing against anyone who does laugh. I mean, I was laughing too for a long time, but now that I know, I can't unknow. Alright, well, anyway, I promise no more soapboxes today. Probably. Why Plankton thinks he's gonna be able to feed Mr. Krabs anything, I have no idea. But at least this leads to a funny scene between him and Karen. As Plankton is cooking up the idiot sauce, because I am not saying the name of this episode over and over, it bubbles up and pops on him, which then makes him, well, an idiot. Or, you know, a stereotypical exaggeration of intellectual disability. Sorry, but I do try to avoid saying things like idiot and stupid, so I'll just use clueless and obtuse from now on in this review. The gas from the sauce gets absorbed into a cloud, which goes over all of Bikini Bottom, and so the sauce is rained all over town, which causes everyone to become clueless and obtuse, except for Sandy and Karen because of an air-sealed helmet and technology, respectively. And, you know, I can forgive this episode for not giving me a good Sandy and Plankton interaction, because now it's giving me Sandy and Karen interactions. It's about damn time. The biggest issue with this episode is that seeing everyone be this clueless and obtuse is not entertaining at all. It's like the worst parts of a piss-poor Patrick-led episode with none of the good shit. Patrick's foolishness was always more about his approach to situations, not how he spends his time, if that makes sense. This is just far too much, with no one doing anything that would make even a lick of sense in their own minds. And this is also kind of boring. Even when Sandy and Karen come up with the idea of simply teaching everyone so they can get their smarts back, I'm bored. The montage of school is boring. Watching everyone be clueless and obtuse is boring. The whole high school bully bit with Plankton acting as this archetype is boring as hell. This show is not one for high school cliches unless it's a Pearl and maybe boating school episode. This episode is neither, and so I don't see any need for this at all. And so all of this school stuff was pretty boring. At least until we get the reveal that Mr. Krabs was only acting for his acting class. That was pretty good, and I wasn't expecting that. Oh, and at least this episode also ended with a gorgeous background, one that actually looks much like the one from last episode, though it's definitely different. So that's nice. Salsa Imbecilicus was kinda just a dud, plain and simple. It was just so fucking boring, and it fundamentally misunderstood Patrick, which doesn't help at all. Patrick barely playing a role in this episode kind of feels meh too, since he's such an important part of the plot. And then of course there's everything I soapboxed about, that doesn't help either, so didn't really love this one, not at all, and so I'm gonna be putting it in my mediocre tier, where it comes in with a score of 5.7 out of 10. As always, I'll be ending this video with some closing thoughts of mine. Man, the end of Season 9 is coming in hot. I just can't believe it. I really need to get in gear and get my Season 15 reviews done, but there's just so little time to do all these things, you know? But I'm certainly trying. Might just do a little break again after I do the Season 9 overview, I don't know, I'll keep y'all posted. Sometimes I feel like such a downer when it comes to the things I soapbox about, and so I do think about if I want to talk about these things in these videos, but also it's not my responsibility how people take what I soapbox about, I'm just talking, so that's how I see it. And I think that's really all I've got to say this time around, so I'm gonna leave y'all here, and I'll see y'all in the next review.